Hello and welcome to my second video update of the day from the estate, and it's Wednesday the 4th of February, and it's been quite an eventful day on it, news wise and politically wise. But what I find absolutely unbelievable, apart from the fact that Britain's role now in the Epstein affair is that they're now trying to put the blame all on President Putin. I mean, I just can't. I've been trying to get my head around this, not all day, but, because I do have other things to do. But whenever I've been hearing it or reminded of it, I just want to put my clown shoes on and go and join the circus, because the chances of President Putin being able to set such a complicated and, sensitive operation in the Western Hemisphere for, 25 years, maybe 25 year plus. It's not even real. It just can't, it can't happen. That's like saying, it's like saying the moon is made out of cheese, and, regardless of them rocks they brought back from the moon in 1969, if they actually were from the moon, it's made out of cheese. And there is an old man who lives up there. Putin is one of the most he's one of the most not politically correct, but he believes, like I've said previously, he doesn't just love Russia, he loves its history, its people, and if he bled, it would actually say Russia, yeah? But along with that comes like a normal marriage, between a man and a woman, the raising of a family, the role of Christianity, although Orthodox, it plays a big role in Russian life, and wanting to serve the motherland it's in the DNA of the Russian people. And they did honey traps, the KGB, and to be honest, I don't really think that when they had homosexual men, especially from Western governments and diplomatic circles, when they've caught them in homosexual relationships, I've never read or heard that Russian young men were involved in this honey trap. I believe they actually, when homosexuality was frowned upon in the West, I believe that when people with power were caught and not highlighted as homosexual, but with the threat of being, outed as an homosexual. They already had boyfriends, or they already knew where to get a young man from. Russia didn't have to supply them, and I don't think it did. And looking at the difference between the Russian mindset of what you would call an honey trap to the Western mindset, it just doesn't, the two don't compare. So for Putin to be, you know, the be-all and end-all of Jeffrey Epstein, and that's how Jeffrey Epstein was able to fund his lavish lifestyle without seemingly working. It's just, wow. I wish I had a pair of bollocks as big as the guy that said and continues to say that, you know, that it's Putin's fault, because he must have a big set. You know, he's got to have. But, you know, why couldn't Epstein, you know, the likes of Mandelson, and I don't think he would have only have had, we only heard about Mandelson and co in Britain because Mandelson's British. I'm sure in other countries they have their own version of Mandelson. Maybe not as openly out in the, you know, the stratosphere as Mandelson is, but I do believe that he had people like Mandelson all over the, not just the West, but globally, you know. Take out all the Far Eastern countries where, you know, ladyboys were first invented, you know. You know, they're not, things like that are not frowned upon, you know. In fact, they're far from frowned upon. They're basically probably allowed. So Putin, it's just not Putin, right? Yeah, I know I sound like I'm talking as if I know the man, you know, but I know, I've studied him. You know, he's been in power 25 years, so anyone in the world who doesn't recognise the name Putin and know who he is, yeah, and I'm not just 100% positive, but more that if he was involved in this, we would have been not just told, but we'd have had it rammed down our throats. But this is how stupid now that Western globalists and elitists think we are. You know, for how long? For 25 years we've been warned about Putin, you know, and say since Epstein's arrest, his first arrest in 2008, round about them times, yeah, it would have come out then, like it did about Prince Andrew, you know, and everyone else in the West, you know, about Clinton and Bill Gates and all the rest. So to come out now and straight-faced say that, you know, he worked for Putin, it just shows you how stupid, and I'm not even going to say the word, but why can't we just collectively take off our dunce hats? Because that's what they think we're wearing. Along with the clown shoes, we've got a dunce hat on, because it's what they must think of us. I mean, I know, I'll say this and I'll keep saying it, that having the vote is nothing, because our vote means nothing. All it means is we vote if someone is elected into power who has got there by convincing the majority of us and showing us how stupid we actually are for thinking that he was going to do the things he said. Now, I've said it previously about Starmer. Starmer knew what was going on with Epstein. And not just, maybe, no, he would have had to have known it all, you know. And I believe he knew it all. Maybe not the extent of it and the, you know, how depraved and deviant they were. But like I said, I believe he's a deviant, you know. He got married a year before he became the director of public prosecutions, you know. He's had a couple of kids. He's made to look, you know, like he's a normal member of the human race, when he's actually far from it, you know. And again, I will say, just remember the Ukrainian models, you know. There is just no reasoning behind it, unless maybe the Ukrainian models were Epstein's present to Starmer, and, you know, the older they got, the less interested Starmer would have been, if he's that way inclined. Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. So, again, you know, what else can we blame on Putin? You know, you've got Zelensky. Oh, he's broke the energy truce. It was a winter truce, and, you know, I'm sure Europe's going to pull Trump, and I'm going to pull Trump, and, you know, and the only person not pulling Trump is himself, you know what I mean? Because it's just unbelievable. I mean, even Trump must be, I mean, Trump will believe fucking anything, you know, but even he won't believe Putin and Epstein. There's just not a chance on this earth. Even if he wasn't involved, he still wouldn't believe it. And, as I say, let's all take our dunce hats off, clown shoes as well, and get back into the real world, yeah, and see things for what they really are. You know, we're being, I mean, it's not even like we're being painted a decent picture. I mean, I'd rather have a Picasso than the picture we're being painted now. I mean, Picassos are not even pictures or paintings, but what they're asking us to believe and to see it, you know, oh God, I just don't know what to say. But before I end this video, because this is just a short one, I've just had to say this and get this out there, that, you know, you can believe anything, everything you've been told from 1999, 1990, right up until last week. Yeah? Everything you've been told about Putin, you could have believed it. You know, the propaganda we're fed, you know, by the, not just by the day, but by the hour and by the minute, you know, concerning the Russians and the way they're behaving, and you know, the war of aggression. It's not a war of aggression. They're not at war, yeah? But forget all that. Believe everything you heard about Putin, yeah? And then just add this to the mix and see what happens and see how believable everything is after that. Because even if you've been living with your head shoved so far up your own deaf and dumb that you've not heard and seen anything, even if it just pops out today after 25 years and was told to believe this, would you? Because anyone who does, they deserve to be, I don't know what should happen to them, but you know, whoever, it's like, it's as if someone didn't wake up and think, I know, we'll blame Putin. It's like they've been up for weeks trying to figure out who they can blame, and in the darkest depths of desperation they came up with, I know, we'll just blame it all on Putin, we blame everything else on him, Putin and the Russians, and we don't even say the FSB or the GRU, you know what I mean? We've come out with the KGB, fucking hell, the KGB, when did they die? 1989, 1990. Come on, man. The KGB was over before the Stasi in East Germany. So that's all I'm going to say on the matter. And if anyone can contradict me, if anyone can point to specific events in time that seem to coincide around Putin, yeah, by all means, please do. If not, and you like what I've just said, even though it's not really much, you know, just like, subscribe and share, because now's the time where we can liberate people's minds. People have just been, you know, Putin and Epstein should be the straw that broke the camel's back. And if it is, let's use it to the best of our advantage. And if we don't, would be stupid not to. That's, you know, I'd love to say I can see you nodding, you know, but I don't know. Maybe I just have a bit more faith in, you know, human nature, and, you know, eventually, no matter how long you put your hands in front of your eyes, eventually they're going to get tired and come down, and that's when you see it for what it is. I think the time has just happened. So take care, and I'll speak to you in the next video. A little bit of an heads up. The next video, I'm going to try and talk about, you know, fake news. You know, how you come to conclusions like it, you know, it's Putin. That's what I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about, you know, people who call for regime change in their own countries, and, you know, oh, go in and bomb them. Not come in and bomb us. Go in and bomb them. You know, my mum and dad's Iranian, or my mum and dad's you know, Russian, or whatever, right, yeah? But that's what I'm going to try and talk about. So give me a couple of hours while I get me papers together and me head in gear, and hopefully we'll come up with a decent video about Iran and about the strength of the Iranian position at the moment, because no matter how much propaganda we're told about the Iranians, it has to evolve, change. I mean, even from last year, you know, the 12-day war. But before I get into the next video now, I'm going to say goodbye. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.